This is a training video for SpatialXL showing how to work with background data and multiple layers. I'm going to open my spatial area. First I'm going to show how to work with a layer file if that's been set up for you, and you're simply going to drag in this file into your layers control. As you can see, some of my layers have errors on them, which basically is that the path is incorrect because I got this from another user. So I'm going to go into my parent layer here, which is called map background. If you close that, you will see that that is the parent layer. I'm going to go to my properties, into my data, and then into connections. There's a connection that's been set up and that's been used for all the sub layers here, and that is an incorrect path again because I got that from another user's machine. So I'm going to browse to find where my map data on my machine is, and I've got mine in this directory. Now I'm going to say close. It will remember my settings, and OK, and that remembers my settings. Now I need to just reload all the data to make sure that they are correct now. So I'm just going to go Control A, right click. First I'm going to expand all my layers and my children layers as well. Then Control A again to select all of the layers in this workbook. And I'm going to right click and say reload all. It warns me and I say yes. And there you can see my background map data appears. Now just to keep the changes so that you can use this in future workbooks, you can right click and say save layer properties, and now this background layer has been saved. Just to show you that it works for all your future workbooks, I'm going to remove this layer again and I'm going to add it from where I've saved it. It's called my background layer and I'm going to drag it in. And as you can see, it remembered all of the changes that I've made. So this is now set with my computer settings in mind and my particular directory where I've saved my data. To save this under my workbook, I just have to move it, like I've shown before, into my workbook layer, and when I click save, it will remember this particular layer. Okay, so that's very simply how you work with map backgrounds in the form of layer files. And just to show you how detailed the data is, I'm going to just zoom into this area here. And you can see we go right down to street level, and the data is very detailed. Now we can also work with Bing Maps. I'm going to just right click in this layer area, go to add layer, data, choose my loader to be Bing Maps, and the satellite view is fine. I'll just click OK. And there Bing Maps appear, and they are similar to Google Maps. Now one thing to realize about layers is that you might have multiple layers in a particular workbook, and in this case the Bing maps are actually over the map background. So to change the order around will also change the viewing order around. What's at the bottom will be drawn at the bottom, and what's at the top will be drawn over the top of the other data. So to change this around, I'm going to just drag my Bing maps until a little arrow showing down appears like that, and I'm going to drop it, and there you can see my Bing maps are now actually underneath my other map layer. I can turn layers on and off by just simply clicking, and that turns them on and off. Remember that if you click the parent layer off, all of these layers will not appear even though they are checked. You have to check the parent layer to make them appear. Again, if I click save, it'll save all of my data with my workbook. Just make sure that the data is actually underneath the workbook, and you can very quickly check it by clicking on this little triangle to see what layers are inside. I'm just going to add one more layer here, which is my customer layer with long and latitudes, and I simply go SpatialXL add layer, and I'll just take the defaults, and there all my customers appear on top of all the other layers. If this customer layer was put at the bottom of my Bing Maps, it will be behind that. So to see it again, you just drag it up until the right arrow appears, and there you can see the customers again. Just one final note on this: if you're having any problem with your layers at all, you can change your scene projection down here. You click on these little points, and then you can set it to GCSWGS 1984. That is for longitudes and latitudes, and you just click OK, and all your data will be there. So if there's any projection not set here, or you've got any problems with data, that's a simple way that you can set your projection. And that is the end of the training video showing how to add background data, Bing Maps, and work with multiple layers in SpatialXL. Thank you very much.